This is another episode of the Purpose Pod, driving you forward with power and faith. I'm your host, Alan Simmons. Today is a great day. Oh, yes. It's May 20th. It's not only May 20th, but this guy I'm about to bring on, his birthday is coming up in like one day, maybe like a couple of hours, even like 6 hours. His birthday's coming up. But man, I'm just so honored to have this guy on my show because he has allowed me on his stage so many times, and he's also one of the reasons why I was able to write a book, a poetry book, a book of poems. And so this guy right here, man, we're just gonna bring him on because I can't even say so much about this guy until I start saying some bad stuff. I'm just all right. So let's bring on Greg. What up, a poet named Superman?
What's good with
what
you?
What up, brother?
Ain't nothing, man. I'm glad that you stopped saying like good stuff because I'm like, yo, this is gonna turn. I already know where this is going. This is gonna turn bad.
I didn't want to just boost you up, and then people hear about a poet named Superman and they hear all the bad things that just come behind that. I'm just one. Now there's nothing but good stuff to say about a poet named Superman, Greg Murray, man. Like, well, we met 6 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I think it was about 6 years ago.
About 6 years. It was like toward the end of 2014. Like
6 years,
like,
bro.
Yeah.
Even just 6 years. That's a long time. That's like elementary school.
You wouldn't leave me alone. I didn't want to be your friend. I was like, I don't know you, bro.
He's like, you want to be my friend?
No, leave me alone. Like, we literally had that conversation. I was just like, that was a nice conversation. And I was just going about my business. And here you go. Yo, how you doing, Greg? What's going on? You want to talk? No. Well, let me pray for you real quick.
Here go that praying, man. But yeah, man. Greg Murray, a poet named Superman. I'm just so excited about this interview, for one, because I get to introduce the rest of the world, the rest of my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those people out there who don't even know me and don't know you. I'm excited about that. People who know you, like we like y'all, we love y'all. But I want people to know this guy who don't know him because he's a masterpiece of the masterpiece. Wow. So I should put that down. A masterpiece of the masterpiece. Yeah, so but yeah, man, Greg, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the folks where you're from, and just let them know what it is that you do.
All right. Yes, my name is Greg Murray. He's putting on my government. My name is Greg Murray, but other people know me as a poet named Superman. Yes, you have to say the whole thing. A poet named Superman, like a Tribe Called Quest or a pimp named Slickback. A poet named Superman. Basically what I do, I'm a poet, I'm a spoken word artist, I'm a host, I'm a facilitator. Every Wednesday, I host an open mic called Release Therapy. Or before COVID, I hosted an event called Release Therapy Wednesday. We would have a writer's workshop at 7 p.m. We had an open mic at 9 p.m. And then we'd have like a little after party at 11 until like 1 or 2.
It's an after party.
Basically, what that is. Yeah, it was after party. Yeah, I missed the after party. I've been doing that for 4 years. We expanded to shout out to Reddit 28. My bad. I do Release Therapy at Reddit 28 Hookah Lounge here in Charlotte. There was another location in Greenville, South Carolina, so we started to have Release Therapy Tuesday. Same concept. That's what I'm doing now. I'm still hosting an open mic on my Instagram every Wednesday. I haven't stopped since the whole quarantine. Since I lost my job, I haven't stopped. So like it's been a journey. Yeah.
So you lost. So the COVID knocked out your jobs because businesses were closed down.
Yeah. Dang, but that next crazy. Wednesday after it picked right up. It was the Wednesday right after the last Wednesday that we had at Red. So I haven't stopped. I've been doing it every Wednesday since, and it's tiring, but it's also fulfilling. But we'll get into that later. I'm a spoken word artist. I've done features. I was part of a group called Queen City Collective, where we traveled all, up and down the East Coast. We even went to Dallas, Texas, to spit some poems. I've traveled myself. I've had features in different places. I just love poetry, man. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I don't know what else. What else to say? I've done the only thing I haven't done is put out a book.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So are you? So let me write this down, but because I want to talk about that too. I mean, if you just dive into it just a little bit. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down so I can make sure that we go back to that. But so Greg, you've been doing this release therapy writers workshop for 4 years, you say, right? And I mean, you go back 4 years, 2016, and I can just remember like how things were back in the day, 2016.
Right.
and just the groundwork. I was there when you was starting it up, so I think that's the most amazing part is like, when I first jumped on and Quiet Storm, Melissa, shout out to Melissa, when we was coming out there, and I was reading my poems like this, like, with my paper in front of my face. So,
right.
It goes to show that, my development as a poet only came because of the writers workshop, you and the other great poets that are there, and you as our mentor. I look at you as a mentor, like you're my friend, you're my brother, but I'm able to put you as my mentor in the poetry realm, because of your expertise. And you've been doing this. I actually was looking at some of your old YouTube videos before we got on this call, actually, because I was like, let me tap into the old Greg.
Why?
The old Greg. but I wanted to check back. I want to be like, man, Greg's been doing this for a long time. Like, even before I met you, you was out here, doing poetry. And I think that's just an amazing thing. And a lot of people don't get what poetry is. Like we've been in like elementary school. They're like, oh yeah, I remember Robert Frost and, all these other people. So could you explain why you love poetry?
Oh God. You
come on.
Dirty. Yeah, you dirty. I know. You dirty for that. There's so many reasons. I'm already like a musical person. Like my whole family, they're all musicians, man. Everybody plays something. I'm not gonna tell you what I play. That's just something I gotta keep to myself. Yeah, all right, yeah. So but I never tapped into it. Like I wish that I tapped into piano as much as I tapped into poetry. I wish I still got a little something, but I don't. I kind of just play around with it. But
so why would you let that gift sit?
What'd you say?
Don't answer that question. Just continue with poetry. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
So with poetry, man, I stumbled on it. It was something that I stumbled on, man. I love it because I know I'm supposed to be doing it, and it is proving it to me every single time. Every single time. Like when I was at my lowest of low, it was me doing poetry that gave me the want to live. Yeah. Like the lowest of low. You know what I mean? Like when I started release therapy, what did I have? Like nothing. I had nothing, man.
Yeah. That's real, bro. That is real. That is very real.
Like for the main reason why I love poetry, like yes, it's a great art form. Like it's really slept on. The things that people say, like it's crazy. But mainly I love poetry because it saved my life too many times for me not to love it, man.
Man, that last part right there. Even just like, poetry's been with me it's almost like God, poetry's been with me when I made my bed in hell, when I was above, when I was below. Poetry has always been there. And I think that's where, so is that where you find and I'm asking you questions as if I wasn't a poet so that people who aren't poets can know where you get it from. So is that where you get your inspiration from? Is it, you get your inspiration from your lows and your highs?
Yeah. It's just a matter of my surroundings. That's where like 90% of the things, 90% of the things I write about come from. 90% of my inspiration is just my experience, like what I feel, what I go through. The other 10% is like my perspective of someone else's situation, especially if they come and tell me their situation, and I write a poem for them or in honor of them. I'll still write it from my perspective. Like I'll put my own style to it. Like there's certain situations where, like, there's a poem that I wrote that was called Borrowed Halo, and someone else gave me the idea for it. It was a woman. She said that she had an ex-husband. He wasn't treating her right. Clearly it was her ex-husband, but she said she felt like she was this angel and she was trying to make him an angel, so she let him borrow her halo.
Wow.
She was like, I'm just giving you a title, so I don't know what you do with it. I'm just giving you a title and I'm giving you the premise. So I wrote from a wife's perspective, from like her perspective.
Can you explain? I'm going to ask two things. I'm going to ask you to explain how you did it, and I was going to ask if you could give a snippet of your information. I know you're a poet, professional poet, and doing stuff for free is stuff. But these people are potential people that will ask you to come MC or speak at their weddings, because he does that. He's a poet. He speaks at weddings. He can do it at your funerals. Whatever you need, he can do it. So, Greg, I'm asking for the people listening, not just for myself, but could you give us a snippet of how you did that?
So hold on, let me see.
I forgot it.
No, I actually might have remembered this. I don't know if I remember the whole thing. I remember that it was you that said that I was an angel, and I believed you. I did more than just help you. I ran your household. I cooked and cleaned, nursed you back to good health when you were ill, submitted to your will, paid both of our bills. I did everything a wife could and should be. And even though you weren't an angel like me, I saw the potential in you that you could one day be. And so I said, here, borrow my halo, take my wings, wear my robe, leave me unclothed. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. See, I want for you to fly. Okay, there we go.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. See, and I was trying to snap and do all my thing. I forgot I wasn't at the open mic. I was like, oh God. But dude, so you wrote that from a guy. So ladies and gentlemen, he wrote that for someone who was married, a lady that was married, and she wrote that she wanted to write a poem to express her feelings toward her ex-husband. And Greg did that. Like he just, you guys saw how he did that, right?
So I was just like, now here's the crazy part, right? Here's the part where like emotions really got high for me personally. I felt like her. Like I know what that feeling felt like I knew what it was like to try to make something out of somebody. So that poem took, like, the reason why I was able to write it was because I knew what that feeling felt like. I was dealing with that type of feeling at the time.
Yeah. Wow.
So I just wrote it from her perspective, but really it was still mine.
You still writing it. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself doing that a lot? Like, you have in our theme, the topic that I wrote was poetry is a weapon, and this is great because weapons could defend. Weapons aren't only to offend, they are also to defend. And you did a defense thing for her. Like she needed defense to feel protected and maybe even some serenity, whatever she needed. That was what you gave her in that poem.
I think it was for clarity because she, not to put business out there. I don't know if she's watching this, but she already got remarried. She was already happy. Like she had kids and everything. She was happy, and she still is happy. But she just came up with. She was just like, look, I just had this title in my head. Like, my husband is a singer, so like I give him titles for his songs, and you're one of my favorite poets, so I just wanted to give you a title for a poem and see what you can do with it. And it just reminded me of a situation that I was in. So here's this title. So I believe it gave her clarity, and it gave her closure on that whole situation. It was wild. It gave me clarity as to how I really felt about a situation that I was dealing with a woman, before that. So that poem is one of my favorite poems in terms of the whole process. like a whole writing process.
Yeah. And I think that writing process is what makes poetry so, valuable, because you're able to even just put yourself in someone else's shoes with your own memories, your own emotions and feelings involved with it to create a masterpiece of a poem, and do you feel like you often create more masterpieces, or are these just like poems that you create to fill in, until your masterpiece comes? Because for me, it's like, I write something great, and then like there's like filler poems, and then and then you write another great thing. Is that the same for you?
Yeah, in a sense.
Everything is great that you do. My apologies, I forgot.
No. That's not how that works at all. Not everything I write is great. There are poems where I'm just happy that I'm writing.
Yeah.
Like, because I'll have a serious block for months. So I just recently wrote something. I want to say about a week or two ago. Yeah. After having a writer's block for about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's why I couldn't come up with a subject for the writer's workshop for the past like 3 weeks, because I'm just like creatively, I'm just blocked. So I was just happy that I wrote something. Now, did that one thing actually come out to be like something dope that I feel like was a performance piece? Absolutely. That shit's cold. I can't cuss. That thing's cold. But that doesn't happen every time. I don't have that feeling every single time. Sometimes it's a feeling of, I'm just happy that I wrote something. Wow, I didn't know I felt this way. I'm happy that like I can see, like read that I felt this way. Sometimes it's just fun. It's just like, oh, I'm bored. Let me write something. And that's another thing about poetry. Like it can really be and do anything. It's so fluid. It's crazy.
That's true. Because it's all of the emotions, right? It's and all of the situations in life. Like, it's when you're broke, when you got money, when you just got paid, when you just got fired, when you just broke up with somebody, when you just got married, like it's when there's a funeral. Like, there's so many things that you could write about with poetry. That's why I don't understand why a lot of guys, they're like, nah, I don't. Like, my homeboy, I ain't gonna say his name, but we were catching up, and I was like, yeah, I wrote a book of poems, and he was like, yeah, I would buy it, but I ain't gonna read it. I was like, bro, come on. What do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, guys got to get, what can guys do to open themselves up, for poetry? Because poetry freed me from depression and suicide, so what is your advice for those guys who are like, man, I'm too hard for poetry?
This is going to sound mad poetic. Like, this whole conversation is going to sound poetic, and I don't want it to, but it's the truth. What did you and I do to be able to open ourselves up to poetry? Like, let's just think about like our experience just as Black men, man. Like, we had a lot of pride. Man, I can listen to it. Like, I can listen to it, but I can't do it. Right. Or, man, I'm not listening to that. Like, it's all emotional and stuff. Like, it's people saying they feelings. I'm not with that. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of shunning your emotions and trying to be hard all the time. That associated a lot of aggressiveness. That's masking, being in tune or tapping into your emotions. So that's taking away all that, like ignoring that, and being like, yo, I need to at least have the empathy to hear what someone else has to say. Maybe I can relate to it. That is that's really looking in the mirror for real. It's looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, I'm flawed. I have these issues, or I'm actually a good person and I just didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that requires shedding a lot of things that are supposed to make us masculine in society.
It's like a false sense of masculinity, I believe, because like I could be like, all right, love you, bro. Talk to you later. You be like, all right, love you too, man. Catch you later. We'll be like, all right, cool. And then that was straight masculine, because men are allowed to have love for a brother, so like that's one thing. And then poetry, I think is when you're in elementary school and you don't have any understanding of what poetry is. You just remember, oh, I was forced to read some poems when I was a kid, and you never really sat down to write or to read something. I think that's people's lack of knowledge of poetry makes them say, oh, I don't do that. That ain't me.
Like I said earlier, it's slept on. It's so slept on. Like if people would just like really tap into it. And I'm not even talking about the whole spoken word aspect of it yet.
Right.
I'm talking
just the writing.
About like just the writing, just Robert Frost, Maya Angelou, like just oh man, there's so many people. Alan Simmons, if you
Too
just
cool
go
too.
and get his
for real.
You know what I mean? Like just the beauty of language. And understanding different ways to communicate and still have the empathy to understand that there's different stories out there. It's a beautiful thing. I haven't fully dove into the whole realm of poetry. Like I only know what I know.
Right.
So there's still a lot of stuff that I haven't that I don't know. And you say you look at me like I'm a mentor, and other people look at me like I'm a mentor too. I just done a lot.
You've done a lot, and it's not about arriving at a certain place. It's just about your work that you've been doing. Like if you're doing the work versus it's almost like a college graduate and somebody that's just been doing it since they graduated high school. The college graduate, they have the educational side, like, oh, they get and understand, the nouns and the pronouns and all that stuff, or the haikus and stuff. Like they get what that stuff is. But when you're like on the ground and you're just writing like straight out of high school or something, you just start writing and you don't even know what haikus are. You don't know, you don't know what alliterations are. You just like, look, I'm making this thing right here and it sounds great. But I feel like the educational side can help you, if you know, like, oh, I need to do an alliteration, that helps as well. I have a question for you. So sure. Kaylees asking, she says that she was teaching her daughter Amina about poetry today. And she asked you, how old were you when you started writing poetry?
Yeah. I've always had an appreciation for it. Like I said, my parents were all musical. So we were listening to everything. So sometimes we would listen to music that had poets on it. So I always had an appreciation for it. My father would hand me books of Maya Angelou. That's when I was around like, I guess 7 or 8 when I was like reading like poetry, whatever. But I still never thought that I could do it. It wasn't until I was 19 years old that I wrote my first poem.
Wow.
Like I ignored it that long.
Yeah.
So all through elementary school, all through middle school, all through high school, I had the same stigma. Man, I ain't writing no poems. I can appreciate it. Like I can never do it. Until I was peer pressured into it when I was 19. I was a sophomore in college at the time.
Yeah. So you got peer pressure into actually writing poems and being a poet.
I got peer pressured into it because I had a group of friends at the community college that I was going to. And it was a group of guys and girls, and it was kind of like a battle going on. So the girls were writing poems about the dudes, about how men ain't, men ain't worth anything.
Men ain't worth nothing.
And then the men would write poems about how women need to listen or whatever. So there was like a back and forth thing. So I would just sit back and just hear these poems and just laugh. And it got to a point where both sides would come to me like, "Hey, Greg, you're smart. Help me out with this. Like, how does this sound before I read it to everybody?"
Yeah.
And I workshop their poems. I pretty much do what I do in the writers workshop. I workshop it. It's like, okay, this part right here is cold, but take this line, put this here, change this word right here. Yo, make sure when you say it this way.
So you're telling folks that it's a way to like not even just write something, you have to be able to say it a certain way to get your point across.
You have to express it in a way to where it's believable.
Yeah.
Like I have to believe that you believe what you're saying.
Facts. That's facts. Otherwise, I ain't listening.
Otherwise, what's the point of me listening to you?
So
if you don't believe what you're gonna say,
why should I? And I felt that way the first time I heard you, Greg, spitting. I was like, I just gotta throw a quick shade out here every time. I gotta catch them off guard. So every now and then. It's cool. I'm messing with you. But so what has been the hardest part for you as a poet? Like, what has been this? I know your story, and I know how, like, even just family may even think like, yo, poetry isn't really it, like find something else, find a career. I know. So what has been like the difficult part in your journey, and how have you overcome that, and how did you overcome that?
I made dumb decisions. Yeah. Just to be frank, I made really dumb decisions. I was just ignorant to the fact that yes, I could be a poet named Superman full time. But that didn't mean that I had to put myself in such a financial and just social rut that that I had to that I'm still partially fighting out of. Like I'm great now. Like I'm a lot better than I was 5-6 years ago. Yeah. But within those past 5 or 6 years, man, there was a lot of things that I endured that I wouldn't want to live again. But if I had to, I would do it because it made me who I am. So that has been a hard part. Like I'll be honest. Like I was homeless, man. Like I was living out of my truck. I was bouncing from couch to couch. It was hard. It was a lot going on because I would choose poetry over my job. That's just being honest. Like I would have a show and, I'm scheduled to be at work. And I'm like, yo, like I asked for this day off. Y'all was supposed to give me this day off. And they were like, well, you got to work and get somebody to cover. And then I find somebody to cover. And then they don't show up. So, I lose my job because I don't show up for work, because I have a show, because I have an EP, like I have a project that I actually put together. And I'm having a party or I'm having a celebration about, me putting out this project. So I chose, it was, I have always chosen my art over my lifestyle, my life. Yeah. And that's where the line should be drawn. Like, art is life, but at the same time, you can't choose. You still gotta eat at some point. Still have to be a human and do something. To make sure that you can survive. So I have a poem about being a starving artist. So being a starving artist ain't cool, but I am still a starving artist because I'm still hungry to, work on my art. But I can't. I gotta eat eventually. Right. You gotta eat eventually, and sometimes. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead. And also, being in that situation prompted me to figure out a way or be open to a way to make poetry lucrative enough for me to live off of it. Because I want to do this all the time. Like I'll just quit a job because I want to do poetry. So clearly I want to do this all the time. So why not make it my job? Why not make it lucrative enough to where I can survive off of it? Right. So, and I was going to ask you, because do you feel that your purpose, and I want to go back to your story too. Dang, let me just purpose. I don't want to go all over the place. So I want to make sure that I stay on word. Because this is how we talk. I know this is how we talk. I know this is how we talk. So and this is none of this is news to me, but I want to have this discussion for everyone else who doesn't know. But so you were very transparent, and I appreciate you for doing that.
was sharing like, yeah, I had to live in my truck. I had to do this and that because of my decisions, and I respect that because, our lowest moments make us humble, so I believe that, we have those moments and it didn't kill you. So you were able to come out of it. And I saw you going through your transformation while going through the whole cars, all that stuff. Like I saw the whole transformation, and to see where you are now. And I remember we were talking like when you got your whip and everything, we were like, man, look, you remember back then it was like this. And so how did you stay in the fight? Like you were in your car, like, the job was giving you problems and you still ended up pursuing your dreams. Like, how did you do that?
Honestly, I don't know. I really don't. Like it God is that great. Like God is that amazing that he kept me.
Yeah.
Like I look back at that now and I'm just like, why didn't you just go home to Jersey? Why didn't you just like why didn't you just go home?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. I just believed that I could not leave. Like I felt like with my failure, if I went home, then that would be me accepting my own failure, and I did not want to accept it. Like I didn't want to accept it fully. I didn't want to be like, yo, I failed. This thing happened. All right, well, that's just another chapter in the story. It's like, nah, this isn't over.
Yeah. But that's valuable right there, because a lot of us are in our season to where, we may be grinding harder than ever. Like you were grinding for poetry and you were working, and at that time, like you said, I could have went home. There was times where I should have went back to Charleston, Somerville, there were so many times where I should have went back, but I didn't. And like you, I did not know why. I'm over here sleeping on people's couches. I'm over here not knowing where I'm about to sleep at, like there were moments like that. And I think, like you, I didn't want to go back home that way. Like I didn't want to go back home that way. It's almost like, being overseas, exactly. You don't want to go home in a box. You want to walk home, or you want to get home like, alive. And I think as a poet, as an entrepreneur, you don't want to go back home because you met failure. Failure is always going to come no matter what, but you decided to stay on the field. And even though you twisted your ankle, you had a broken bone.
Facts. Like essentially, I was just like, I'm not. Like, there's too many. I think it was because I had opportunities. Like I was, getting shows. I mean, and I was getting jobs. Like it wasn't like, I was in that rut for that long.
Yeah.
In terms of it, like the lowest of low, like that didn't last very long. Luckily, I had people that were willing to help me, but even then, that was tough as well because they saw me. No one knew that I was going through these things because people saw me as Superman. They didn't know Greg. So, so there were certain people that would want to help Superman just because, oh, he's low. Yo, I'm gonna get mad props because I helped Superman out.
Oh, wow.
So like it was weird. Like it was very, very weird. Like a lot of people just didn't understand what my life was back then. And at the same time, I could have done things differently. Like I definitely hold myself accountable. Clearly I got myself into that situation. I could have done better just with everybody that, that experienced that with me. Like that was a weird time. A very weird time, man.
Yeah. And it's those times are usually unexplainable. It's like, dang, how did this happen to me? Like, how did it come about? Like, you see yourself above the water, you're swimming, you're good. Next thing you know, you're on the bottom of the sea, like just trying to breathe. And you're like, how did I get here? Like when you get to that place where you're, oh, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to stay? And I think that's where, oh man, I had the perfect word, where passion meets purpose. It still may look like, oh, I'm not supposed to be on this road. Like you could have tapped out a long time ago. You could have said, you know what? I'm not going to start this writer's workshop. I'm not going to keep with poetry. I'm just going to pursue this 9 to 5 like everyone else is doing, which is good, which is a good thing. Cause you said we got to eat. So
Bruh.
what is your advice for the young poets and the poets who are starting their careers, people, entrepreneurs in general? Like your story is for everyone, because people who are pursuing their dreams are going to face difficult times. Do you have any advice for them when they're going through difficult times? Like 3 things that you could just think about and say, you know what, when you're feeling depressed, do this. And you can incorporate poetry if you want to, or writing, however you want to tell them. And this is on the fly, guys. This is not anything Greg or a poet named Superman put together. But yeah, just on the fly, bro. Like, what are some things, like, if you were talking to me or some other poets, think about those people that you know personally, and you know, the super friends who are going through things right now through COVID-19, and they may be at the end of their road, and they might give up on their gift. They might give up on their dreams. What are your words from Superman?
I would like to take a quote, if you will, a quote that I live by, that you live by, that we all should live by. You said 3 things, right?
Yes.
Never stop, never quit, repeat. Like,
beautiful. Appreciate that, bro. No, that's real talk.
But that's real. Like, I think that's why I was able to have the opportunity presented to me. Like, a lot of people, even if I'm not the dopest poet ever, even if I'm not the dopest poet in Charlotte, the thing that has been said the most about me is that I was always consistent. Like, I always brought it every time I hit the stage. Even when it was a new poem and I would mess up, like, I always brought a feeling. Like, I always brought an experience. Like, I was known as, you know, somebody like, yo, like, you don't know what you're gonna get, but you're gonna get something. You're gonna feel this. It doesn't matter what it is,
right?
But you're gonna feel what he got to say. So like, with that consistency, I just held myself to a standard. That's all it was. My passion for what I do. Actually, we'll circle back to the question earlier about when I started writing. I knew that a big reason why a big thing that I didn't like about poetry was that a lot of people sounded the same. So when I started writing, I was just like, you know what? If I'm really gonna do this, like, I have to sound different. Like, I have to, like, I can't sound like everybody else. I can't do what everybody else does. Like, I have to make it my own.
You have to be versatile. Show people the very best of you, right? I'm just my bad. I heard that was a quote from a poet named Superman.
But I say all that to say that passion and that mentality of wanting to separate myself from the masses, yet still make people believe in what my message is and what I'm saying and what my life has been. I think that was the thing that carried me through everything.
Wow.
Like, me just believing in myself and me just tapping into what I'm supposed to be doing. So I say all that to say, if you have something that you believe you're supposed to do, go full force at it. Like, even if it doesn't work out, if it like, I wanted to be, before I started writing, I went to school for architectural engineering. I wanted to build roller coasters.
Yeah. Wow.
And I took 21 credits in my first semester.
21 credits.
I'm going full force. Like, yo, I'm about to be this dope roller coaster builder, roller coaster tycoon. Ain't got nothing on me. Like, nah, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I overwhelmed myself. I didn't know. So go full force, but just have an awareness. Like, having an awareness that I didn't have when I was a kid. I didn't have a self-awareness of, I probably can't handle that. I shouldn't be able to handle that. And it's not diminishing yourself to understand what you can and cannot handle. But if you know that you can handle something, then you go full force. You tear that thing up. You give it all you got. Because if it doesn't work out, then cool. You gave it all that you got. So clearly that wasn't meant for you. But if you give something that you're supposed to have, all you got, then it will continuously work for you every single time.
Yeah.
And that's what poetry has been for me.
Wow.
I gave it all I got, and every time I did, it always helped.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, like doors keep opening for you.
Doors kept opening. I'm just like, God, what are you doing? Yo,
yeah. what is this?
Yo, all right, bad. Yo, let's go. All right.
Yeah. That's real though, man. And a lot of times when you're in the process, you don't see the end product. So, a lot of us entrepreneurs and people who are just going out there chasing our dreams, chasing our purpose, while we're in the process, we see the storm and we see the COVID-19. We see, we don't see how it works out. And, biblically, it says everything works out for the good of those who are in Christ Jesus, right? And I think that it's important to understand that, things may not work out if it's not within your purpose, and we have to be okay with that. A lot of times when I was in school in Virginia, like I dropped out of school in 2013. This is 2020. I'm about to finish up in December, so if you count 2013 to 2020, that's 7 years, and I would have thought that, oh my God, this wasn't my purpose to finish school, even though I don't know what is going to happen after I graduate. I literally don't know. I know what I want to happen, which is I want to travel the world and speak and write more books, write more poetry, and help more people, find their purpose. But I also know that my plans may not be. So I did that, guys, because it was Greg has that in his poem as well. So you may hear a little quick plugs, but I had to do that because it's real though, Greg. Like when you said that, like what happens when your plans are not God's plan? Jeremiah 29:11, right? So so what has that's one of people's like all time, like that's one of my favorite poems. So Jeremiah 29:11 talks about for I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So Greg wrote a poem incorporating this very biblical piece, and he does it in environments where you don't have church services, and people are loving it. People going to worship after hearing this poem, and so what inspired you to write that, bro? I want to know that.
Oh, all right. So I wrote it 2013.
Wow. When I was dropping out of school.
I wrote it 2013, 2014, 2013. Definitely 2013. I was involved in the church here in Charlotte. And I was just helping out. Like I didn't join the church. There was this family that I knew from Jersey. Shout out to the Robinsons one time. They were, ministers in the church. They were really about, cultivating the youth presence in that church. So I would just help out, anything that they needed. So, I would show up to like youth services. If they had like youth lock-ins, like I would just help out.
Yeah.
Cause that was always embedded in me. Just to be a part of a church and just be involved. So they were having like some youth service, or they were having some type of service, and they asked me to write a poem, or they asked me to say a poem.
Yeah.
But I felt like what I had wasn't enough. So shout out to my sis Alyssa. I got the idea from her because her favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. So I was just like, oh, like let me read this and see what I come up with, because like that's one of my favorite verses too. But all right, word. Let me see what I can do with this. And it just, I don't know how long it took me to write it. I want to say they gave me about 2 weeks, and I think it took me about a week to write it. Now the crazy part here's, all right. So you just asked what inspired me to write it, right? It was solely just the verse, and it just took off. from there because I had to
like
write.
You just started with the verse.
I just started with the verse.
Wow.
I just started with the verse. And how it hit me, I was just like, "For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you." You know what? People don't listen to this.
Yeah.
People have their own plan. Everyone has their own plan. I have my own plan right now. Like we all have our own plan. Like nobody really listens to this.
Yeah.
That was my thinking throughout the whole writing process. Like nobody listens to this. And then it got deeper. It was just like, nah, like people be getting mad.
Yeah.
They get mad at God because their plan is not God's plan.
Right.
They get mad. It's like, nah, man, I'm in control. Like, what are you talking about? I'm in control. What are you doing? Like, that's how I felt like during the whole writing process. My bad. I got something in my eye.
No, you're good. It's okay. Is it tears? Is it tears, Greg? Is it tears?
Not
Are
yet.
You crying?
Not yet. Not yet.
Because I wrote them myself. I'm just playing. Sorry, y'all. I don't know how loud that was. I apologize for people who have their volume on 1.
So before I go further, was there any like follow-up questions that you're gonna ask in regards to?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, could you give us a snippet of Jeremiah 29:11?
A snippet.
Let's go into worship, folks. Go into worship. Find your worship, please. Hallelujah.
Oh man, you know I can't do a snippet, right?
I know you can't. So do the whole thing. Go ahead. This is awesome because it's going to be recorded already. So we got this, guys. If you want to, also we want to support our local church members here at the Purpose Pod. Greg, what's your Cash App? We about to. Hey, look, I'm asking him to drop. I'm gonna send him something, but I'm asking him to drop a Jeremiah 29:11 so y'all can hear it right now. I mean, because why we got a poet on here? We ain't gonna do no poem. All right, so Greg, what's your Cash App?
My Cash App is $SOOPAMAN 23.
23. Hopefully, there's no other person by that name because we're gonna But yeah, so we're putting up this is the collection plate right here, guys. So but yeah, I want you to share Jeremiah 29:11 with us, please.
All right. You
can stand up if you want. If you want to stand up, you can stand up, you know.
Actually.
Go ahead. Go to your place of worship, Superman.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do it. For I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. I happen to find it highly ironic that at least one person in this room will sit back in their chair even after hearing those words and say, wait, are you sure? Because, well, I'm a teenager with a baby on the way. Or I'm in my 20s and all of my friends are getting married and having kids and I can't even seem to figure out what my career is. Or I'm in my 30s playing catch up to the things that I should have been doing in my 20s. Or I'm in my 40s and 50s working 2 jobs and taking care of 2 grandkids whose parents can't seem to figure out what to do with their lives. This is not how I saw my future panning out. You see, society is imprinted into our systems a certain structure as to how success is given. You graduate high school when you're 18. You graduate college when you're 22. By the time you're 25, you're supposed to be married and working on your career, right? By the time you're 30, you're working on your second kid. Then you work for 20 years. You're supposed to retire in your 50s. And then your kids, their kids, and their kids repeat the cycle, ensuring that your last name will forever rhyme with successful legacy. And then you die. You get accepted into heaven on scholarship. You get to mingle with angels, hit them folks with Jesus, and give daps to God on an eternal basis. That type of life sounds dope, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got a question for y'all, though. What happens when you come to the realization that your plan is not God's plan? It's a harsh reality, as if you've been unplugged from the matrix. Only this world that God has for you isn't detrimental to your existence. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Do you constantly question God's intentions? Yes, I've been there. I am there now. Trust and believe when I thought I had it all together. And the Most High was trying to prove to me otherwise. I allowed pain and fire to burn in my insides, and it made me point my finger in my head to the sky and scream, no! For I know the plans that I have for you. And I don't need you right now. I got this. Besides, you kind of killing my vibe right now. So my plans fell apart, as they always do. I felt what's worse than feeling worthless? What's worse than feeling like you have no purpose? I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. It was just ridiculous until one day I swore it was God himself that rained down, and he spoke and he said, I created you for a reason. I placed you in this planet with a purpose. I created you on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. I created you on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose. You are not in vain. For the very minute that you were born out of your mother's womb is the exact second that I spoke your name. See, I know the plans that I have for you. Why? Because I wrote them myself. Using my son's blood as ink. You would think I knew what I was doing, dude. My response to that?
True.
I stand before you, and you all sit before me, because God has granted us the opportunity to tell us all that we are productions of peace and prosperity. And if we ever want to walk into our destiny, we need to walk with him, but allow for him to hold the mat. And if we ever get scared, if we ever grow tired, oh yeah, we can just refer back to a text by a prophet named Jeremiah. Breathe in the 29th chapter, exhale out verse 11, and keep walking. Keep walking like Moses through the Red Sea. Keep walking like Daniel out of the lion's den. Keep walking like David after he defeated Goliath. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Heel, soul, toe, heel, soul, toe. Let your heel strike your enemy in the heart. Let your soul glide past the transgressions of your haters. Let your toe release yourself of your sins. Keep walking. Keep moving with your heads, your hearts, and your eyes fixated to the heavens.
Woo! Oh, Heavy over here. What's up, Heavy? She dropped some flames on the boy. Dropped the snaps on him. What up? Oh. Hey, that was lovely, brother. That was lovely. That's my favorite poem, you know, because it's so funny when you got these super friends, these people that do poetry, these are poets, like you guys and stuff. Like when I first heard that, I would always be saying that in my head. Like your voice would come up in my head. I'm like, what are you doing here, Superman? Like, why are you here in my mind? You know, and I'm over here talking about hill, so I'm over here, you know what I mean? So like,
had I known the impact that poem would have had, I probably would have done. No, I wouldn't have. I would have ran. I would have ran from writing it.
Yeah.
I mean, had no idea.
Yeah, you don't really need to do much more to it, you know, because I mean, you don't need to do anything to it. That right there, that's one of those masterpieces that you write when it's like, oh man, like this is something that I believe that like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 years from now, people are going to look at stuff that we do and be like, wow, these were thought leaders. These were those people, because, you know, when you're amongst people, they don't really realize the value that you bring to their lives. It's not until you leave that they realize the value that you left with them. And you as a poet have brought so much value to a lot of people that, you know, it's not, and I'm not, we're talking future. It's not until we leave. We hear, you know, but it's like, it's not until, you know, oh, Greg has moved back to Jersey, or Greg moved to Texas, or Greg moved to California, or Greg moved to Florida, that it's like, oh man, like, you know, that poem, you know, Jeremiah 29:11, like that was very impactful and insightful. You know, like they start talking about like that when you're gone. But I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you roses while you're alive, my brother. That's a very, very awesome piece. And Ohavia says, value through your gift. Value through your gift. And you're a very valuable person because you have this gift of poetry. What up, Rick? Bless you. But so how has that poem changed lives? Like you've done that. I've heard that poem like 100. That's why I was over here like doing all the reenactments, because I've been here, you know, through it all. But how has that poem impacted people's lives? Like, have you heard like, hey, Greg, like that poem right there when you said that? Like,
all right. So I'm a there's a couple of stories.
Yeah.
So it's impacted my life personally, just because it is it's probably the most edited poem out of the thousands of poems that I have. This is probably the most edited one.
Yeah.
I wrote it in I initially wrote it in 2013. It was a lot longer.
Yeah.
It was a dissertation. Like it was a lot. There was a lot more in it. I don't think I have the original in front of me. Yeah, I don't think I have
it. I got it. I got it right here.
No, you ain't got the original.
No, that was just a good time for me to grab my charger.
But Jeremiah is a poem that really let me know what I could do as an artist. It let me know like what I could do with voice fluctuations, what I could do with wordplay, how I could affect people emotionally, how I could edit poems on stage, like I could freestyle like that. Jeremiah has gone through so many edits while I was on stage.
Yeah.
So it sounds the way that it sounds now because of all those edits that have accumulated over the past 7 years. So clearly nobody was hitting them folks in 2013.
How do you hit the folks? Oh, Heavier, this is another tutorial. How do you do the folks? How do you hit the folks?
How do you hit the folks? Nobody was hitting the folks in 2013. That wasn't a thing. So that line used to be get to mingle with angels, hit the Dougie with Jesus, and give daps to God on the basis.
Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me. How do you do it? How do you Dougie? How do you Dougie, Greg?
I don't know.
Hey, okay, here we go. It's like you got.
I don't know how to do it.
Gotta put a little shoulder in. To them folks.
But yeah, that so it's impacted me just because it really let me know what I feel like. It's a great example of all the things that I could do and that I can do. With poetry, just with the
and that's it being your weapon, because you're able to, like, it's like when you have a rifle or something, you could either shoot it, you could hit somebody with the buttstock of it, whatever it is you want to do. So poetry is a weapon because you're able to free people from their iniquities, and you're able to you're able to pull people from their darkness, man. And I know I mean, bro, there's been times where we've had the writers workshop and either my vibe was off, your vibe was off. We was like, hey man, let's go outside to pray, let's talk. And because we are also aware of our feelings. And I think that's the best part about being a poet. And that's the thing that got me out of depression. That's the thing that took the gun out of my hand, along with God, of course. But, the poetry was my escape, and it still is my escape from things that I battle with, when you're going through fear and you're going through anxiety, you're going through depression. Those are a whole lot of emotions to deal with as a human being at one time.
So to piggyback off of that, and to also, re-answer, give the second half of the answer to the question that you asked me earlier.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. There was somebody that I knew that I saw at Red. Like I hadn't seen him in months. But I remember that, he was around Red when I was coming up, like when I was doing, Jeremiah and other poems, when I was like the resident Red poet at Soulful Sundays or whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him for like it felt like a year. Like I hadn't seen him in like a year. And he just randomly walked into Red, and I was just like, yo, how are you, bro? Like, how's everything going for you? He was just like, yeah, man, I was in jail. Wow. I was like, are you serious? And he told me the whole situation. So then months later, I see him again, and this is last year. So I see him continuously for the next couple of months leading up to my birthday. It was around my birthday. So he shows me this phone, and everything is going well. Like once he got out of jail, like he was fine. Like his life just took off. and he was just living well. So he shows me this phone case, and the phone case was like an old school Game Boy, like the Nintendo Game Boy. And I was like, oh, that's a dope phone case. And he was like, nah, turn it on. I'm like, what you mean turn it on? And like he hit a button, and it was an actual Game Boy phone case. Like you could play games on this joint.
Oh wow!
So I'm playing, so I'm like going ham on his phone, like playing games for at least like 20 minutes. He's getting phone calls, he's getting text messages, all this stuff. So I was just like, oh, you know what? My bad, bro. Let me give you your phone back. Like I just got sucked in.
To playing video games.
To video games. And he was like, you don't have video games at home? I'm like, nah. I had an Xbox 360 like a while ago. But you know, I wound up having to, you know, give it away, or I wound up losing it. And he was just like, oh, you don't have a system now? I was like, nah. And he was like, well, how much are Xboxes? Like, would you want an Xbox or a PS5 or a PlayStation? I was just like, well, since I'm familiar with Xbox, like I probably, oh no, I got to get my charger now too.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, keep talking. You good?
So, hear me all right?
Yep. Well, I don't know what just happened. You hear me, Soup? Uh-oh. Y'all, we having technical difficulties. But yeah, we've been talking because Superman's birthday is tomorrow, just to let y'all know that. That's why I put his Cash App up there. You know, if you guys are feeling generous, and he just dropped a poem. Please shoot the brother some money. Send him like $1 or $2. Get him. But yeah, like I hope you guys are pursuing your purpose and your dreams. I'm gonna put Soup's camera on pause until he connects back again. I think he's coming back on alive in the flesh. Let's see what happens here. There we go. You're back.
We good?
Yeah, you're good. I see you.
All right. So that was scary for a second. All right. All right. So what ends up happening is he was like, yo, go on Facebook Marketplace and see if there's somebody in the area that's selling an Xbox. Like how much, like see how much they're selling it for. So I'm just, you know, thinking that we were talking video games, and you know, he wanted to, you know, see how much one was just so he can get one himself. Yeah. So we found one that was that was close, like Gastonia or something or whatever. Somebody was selling one for kind of cheap, and it was brand new. So he was like, all right, tell them that we're on our way to go get it. Yeah. I'm just like, all right. And I'm thinking like he's about to just go get it. He just wants me to ride with him for whatever reason. So we walked to his car, and he was like, yo, you're driving. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not driving, but all right, whatever. So I get in the car, and he's just like, yeah, man, this is I'm doing this for you. Like I'm getting you this Xbox. I was like, oh yeah, like we're about to go get this Xbox. He was like, yes, it's yours. Yeah. Like happy birthday. I'm like, whoa, whoa, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, you're not just gonna buy me a. What do you, chill? Like that's a lot. What do you want from me? And he's just like, look, man, when I was away, the only thing that kept me going was Jeremiah 29:11. Wow. Hearing your voice through the poem. Like I memorized your poem while I was away. That kept me wanting to get out. That kept me wanting to fight to live. Because I didn't want to live. Like you helped, like that poem helped me out so much. You have no idea. Yeah. So this is a small token of what I could do for what you've done for me, man. Wow. Like that then I cried. Then like I had like then I cried. He went to sleep like on the way to Gastonia, so he ain't see me like, but I was like I had Hold on, I just got a clear picture. First of all, that was an amazing story. Hold on, I'm sorry. Whatever. That's an amazing story because that's life-changing. Of course, you know, somebody is, you know, they go to jail or prison. Is it prison or jail? Same thing. I don't know. But they're getting locked up, and your poem is what gives them their freedom. And I think that's the most awesome part about being a poet is that
your story and what you go through during that time and season can be used over and over and over and over and over again for centuries.
Yes.
I think that's powerful. But I just envision, you driving, crying, and I just wanted to capture that moment, of your joyful tears, as you were driving. I'm trying to imagine like what it was like. What kind of cry was it? Was it like, was it?
It was.
I ain't gonna. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna try to cloud. I forgot we was on the purpose pod. I'm always trying to cloud you. I'm sorry, bro. I can't help it, man. That's the problem with me right now. I'm sorry, Greg.
You only do this. You only do this because I try to portray myself as if I know
as an emotionless person.
Emotionless, which is dumb. Like clearly I have emotions.
Clearly he's dumb. Emotional, guys.
I try to portray myself. I try to have this wall. I really enjoy being a mystery. I enjoy no one knowing my life outside of poetry. Because of the things that I've been through, because of my interactions with people when I did let them in and they felt like, they knew me and they just took advantage of my vulnerability. So I've always, well, not always, but the past 4 years, I've had a serious wall up.
Yeah.
Just because I understood, okay, I have this big thing that I'm doing. I have this purpose that I'm doing. I'm really affecting people's lives. I have a responsibility. Yeah. Okay. As soon as people figure out that, there's going to be people. When I figured out that I was a light, I recognized that everybody's attracted to light, right? So insects are attracted to light.
Right.
People are attracted to light. Darkness just it can't survive in the light. So it can't survive in the light. So there's going to be people that are going to be attracted to it just so that they can look at it, just so that they can hold it in their hand and say, yo, you see this light? There's going to be other people that want to dim it, want to control it. Like, yeah, you a light, but my hand is on the switch, so I get to decide. And there's people that just want to cut it completely off.
Yeah. Wow.
Because they can't stand the fact that your light shines brighter than theirs. So I need to cut this off. There's so many different variables that come into being, that come into play when being a light. So that's why I have this huge guard up.
Yeah.
I have to protect myself. So
do you feel that it so it protects you, and as a poet, do you use so usually you're just dropping snippets of your life to people and they don't really get to see the full picture because you're behind this wall. And I believe comedians do it as well. Like they have this like, they'll talk about their mom, their dad, their grandma, the kids and all that stuff, but you will never really know what really is behind that wall, fully behind that wall. They give you snippets, but you won't see the whole thing. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I can't do that forever.
Right.
Like I can't. I can definitely protect myself. I can definitely still have a wall to a certain degree and still try to maintain a certain level of privacy.
Yeah.
But especially with being a poet, with being a spoken word artist, and being a leader or an example.
Yeah.
How can I tell you or any of the super friends to be more vulnerable or to be transparent or to feel or to really tap into who you are so that you can write something? How can I tell y'all that if I don't do it myself?
Facts. Facts.
So like,
but leading
up to COVID, like as you saw, like I was writing things that were a lot more transparent and more vulnerable than normal because I recognized like I can't have this wall up forever. I can't.
Yeah. And I think your growth is going to come from that right there, because you can only grow so much in a container. Like, all right, so I'm not talking about an actual container, guys. So this is the poet side. Like when we start using figuratively speaking, if you can't grow in the same box your whole life, you know, and you have to increase the capacity of the box you live in. If you do live in a box, and I'm not saying like a box, oh, you're thinking in a box, staying in a box, but this space you've put yourself in, and the box is your guard, protecting you from everyone who is trying to steal from you, who's trying to take from you, you know, because you have to surround yourself with protection, you know, as well. And I'm not talking about physical protection, but emotional protection, because people will, like you said, they'll hear, oh, Superman talked about this, so that means that I could bother him about that right there. Or if a female hears that, oh, you know, I'm single, but I'm looking for love, I can't find the right one, they always trying to block me, must be the moon in front of the sun. I'm just playing. That was a quick freestyle at the top, but but you have to have that security of your emotions, you know. So I believe that was good that you did that, and I love how you're taking the time and how you took the time to, you know, release yourself of your transgressions. And I just think that was again, I just love that part in your poem. Thanks, Rick. So Greg, I have a final question. We've been on for an hour and 10 minutes, and I really enjoyed this talk with you, bro. My last question is, what would you tell yourself if you could go back 4 years from now? 4 years from now, if you could go back 4 years from now, what would you tell yourself to make yourself a better poet?
To make myself a better poet?
Yeah, or to just bring value to yourself at that moment in time. If you could go back to Greg 4 years ago, and on this day, the day before his birthday, 4 years ago, I believe that was, oh yeah, you know what? Hold on. So 4 years ago on this day, you know, this was today 4 years ago, Greg took some time to himself to have his birthday celebrations the day before my wedding. And we wanted Greg to do a poem at our wedding.
You didn't tell me. You did not tell me that you wanted me to do a poem.
It's okay. It's okay. But we're not gonna. This is 4 years of hurt and pain. I'm not even trying to release that. I'm just playing. But yeah, bro. Like no. I'm just playing with you. But you know, I always for the next 20 something years, I'm gonna always bring it up on May 20th. You know, about the day after what he did years ago. I'm going to talk about that. But so Greg, I celebrate your life with you, brother. But what would you go back and tell yourself if you could go back, you know, 4 years from now? Yeah, that's what I said. Show up to Alan's wedding and do a poem. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Definitely if it was 4 years from this day, like 4 years to this day, I'd be like, yo, don't drink at all today. Just don't drink.
It's a terrible choice.
Just don't drink anything. Don't drink anything today.
Yeah.
At all. Just don't. But seriously, I'd probably say, like, look, one, you're not as invincible as you think you are just because you made it out of, you know, the storm that you made it out of. You're not invincible. You're still very much able to get hurt. And that's okay. Like you are still human. I know, like, you taking on the mantle of being Superman, and you have the nickname and the stage name, and you try to emulate your life like that, bro. You're human. You're Gregory.
Man,
like
it's real.
Just it's okay. Like it's okay that you're not okay.
Wow.
It's okay that you're not okay. And you're probably not gonna be okay for a little bit, for a while, but you will be. As long as you're okay with being okay, then, you know, you'll see through all of this. Wow. And I feel like that's just with me just being a better man, a better person.
Yeah.
Being a better poet, I'd probably tell myself to take more risk.
Like, what does that look like?
I'd probably take Take more risk in like writing, just writing about different things, being more transparent, being more vulnerable, things that talk about things that are a little bit more taboo, like kind of get under people's skin a little bit more. Because with Jeremiah, it gets under people's skin, but there's other poems that followed it, like Reverse Russian Roulette, where I'm talking about, you know, trying to kill my old self with, you know, positive things. A lot of people don't want to kill their old selves off. Yeah. Which is what I'm learning to do now. I probably would. I would tell myself as a poet to push the envelope more. I'd probably do that. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you plan on doing that now? Like, do you plan on pushing it even more now and getting under some skin? Getting under some skin. Maybe you should title your next poem "Getting Under Some Skin."
I'm learning how to get under my own skin.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't do it for anybody else if I don't apply it to myself. So I'm getting under my own skin right now.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's necessary.
Yeah. And it's a part of the process, man. It's a part of that process. Yeah. I you know, Greg, I wanted someone to come on here and sing for you. I was going to have somebody come on as a special guest to sing a happy birthday to you, but you know, I was unable to get a hold of Missy Elliott. It wasn't going to be Missy. It wasn't going to be Missy, and I promise. I was talking to Janet. Janet didn't call me back, and you know, I had Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx didn't hit me back, so I was like, Fantasia didn't hit me back. Nobody hit me back. I was like, yo, Greg, Superman's gonna be on my show. I need y'all to sing. But you know, so I just have my voice, and I don't want to do that right now. So Greg, you know, I just want to give you I just want to give you a happy birthday, brother. You know, and I love you, man. You mean a lot to me, bro. I'm proud of what you're doing. Do you have any work that you're working on right now that people need to go check out? Like, I know you got your YouTube channel. That's under a poet named Superman as well, right?
Yeah. Just type in a poet named Superman on YouTube, and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. Use the hashtag Super Sundays, SOOPASUNDAYZ. That is a little I guess a little thing that I was doing where like on Sundays I would drop a track with me doing poetry over some of my favorite beats. So there's songs from yeah, bust a verse, Alan.
Nah, I don't have a verse yet.
You whatever.
Rick, hey Rick, how about I bring you on and you bust a verse, Rick? But go ahead.
But yeah, Super Sundays on YouTube. Just type in a poet named Superman. You'll see like a lot of old performances. You'll see like a logo where it says a poet named Superman. Super Sundays a playlist. There is a mixtape that I'm working on. Well, not working on. It's actually pretty much done. We just got to put it out with my homeboy, my mentor, Blues. Shout out to Blues one time.
Blues.
Me and him decided to do a mixtape together where it's the same concept. We're doing poems over some of our favorite beats. And the whole premise of it is no snaps. Like, you know, normally people snap in the poetry scene, like, yeah, all right, cool. And it's like, nah. We're pushing the envelope. We're saying things to where you're like, whoa, all right, I can't snap. Like I gotta get up out my seat. I gotta like think about life right now. Like those type of things.
I like that. I'm excited about that right there, brother. I'm excited about that right now.
yeah, that's gonna be when that hits, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. Like I'm good. I can coast for a little bit. Like I can coast off of this thing because it's wild. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is there a date? Did you say a date yet? What date?
I haven't set a date yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to him. Hopefully we can get it out by the end of this month. If not, June.
Yeah.
We've been holding on to this thing for a minute.
Yeah.
For a minute. We started recording like 2 years ago.
Wow. So I know it's about to be sick then. Do you have your workshop tonight?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, in about a half an hour.
So at 8:00, so people are you doing a workshop or are you just doing an open mic?
I'm just doing an open mic.
Okay.
I was gonna do like a showcase, but I didn't have the chance to. I took a nap.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have taken a nap.
I took a nap.
Yeah, I do host the open mic, release therapy open mic every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in about a half an hour, I'm gonna hop on Instagram. So just follow me on Instagram, APoetNamedSuperman, all spelled correctly, all one word, APoetNamedSuperman on Instagram.
A poet named Superman. Yes, you got to say it like a Tribe Called Quest or pimp named Slipback. So that was a poet named Superman. Poet named Superman. I appreciate you, Greg. Thank you, brother, for being on the Purpose Pod. I look forward to the future, and I look forward to your greatness and continue to shine, bro. You are already great. I look forward to your greaterness.
Alan, I greatly appreciate the opportunity, and I am mad proud of you. Every time you do something, I just look at him like, yo, like I'll look at you just be in awe. Yeah. And just be in awe because I remember the first conversation that we had. Mm-hmm. Like I still remember us talking about purpose and trying to figure out, what is the will of God for the both of us. I remember that conversation. Yeah. And for both of us to tap into it and for us to go the path that we're going and see what you are doing, it is inspiring. It is amazing. And I'm thankful that we were both able to inspire each other, to get to the places that we are now. So I'm mad proud of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on here. Thanks, brother. I expect a Cash App donation from you. Oh yeah, for me specifically, I will. But folks, I need help because I'm just a college student and I'm just playing. But yeah, if you want to sit like Greg just busted a freestyle, he's a starving artist out here. Look at his ribs. You can see his ribs if he stands up. I'm just playing. But he said no, you can't. Hey, look. But no, man. Hey, if you want to support Superman, please do send him some cash on the Cash App. Put Purpose Pod listener or something on there. Say happy birthday. His birthday's tomorrow. Just show some love. Superman, happy birthday. I am excited about your new year, and I look forward to your growth, brother. I appreciate that, man. And happy anniversary to you, bro.
Oh, thank you for your anniversary. This is always going to be a special day. Like we're always able to turn the times together, Greg. All right, bro. I'm gonna holler at you.
All right, man.
All right. That was a poet named Superman. He dropped a half a poem at first, and then he did a whole poem. Y'all just, if you missed it, you need to go back, and then listen to that because he is an authentic, awesome poet. That was almost alliteration. Authentic, awesome, amazing poet. How about that alliteration, Rick? There you go, right there. There goes my line, my bars right there. Awesome, amazing. I forgot what I said, but yeah, authentic. So yes, a poet named Superman. He has an open mic tonight, virtual open mic tonight. You need to be there. Follow him on Instagram, a poet named Superman. Yes, you got to say it together like a Tribe Called Quest. I'm gonna quit saying that, Greg. So, but yes, please go check him out on Instagram. Please go send us some cash for his birthday, and please follow the Purpose Pod on Facebook. Go like our page. Go write a review. If you feel like you know someone that should be a guest, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I just want to bring on great people who are doing great things, who are chasing their purpose and are living in their purpose. So this is the Purpose Pod. I look forward to seeing you guys again. Peace.